basically, if in doubt, keep them out. If you get that unexpected or unwanted visitor to your door, remember it's your home. You don't need to let anybody in that you don't want to come into your home. And if it's unexpected, don't answer the door. If you choose to answer the door, then I would ask people just to consider sort of 4 key words. Locks. You know, have you got good locks on your door, front and back? Stop and think. You know, it's an unexpected call. What are they wanting? I'm a crime prevention officer, and home security is important to me. So something as simple as a door chain. You know, if you're going to open the door, have a door chain there and use it, and it gives you that little bit of defensible space that you can still talk to the person. Perception-wise, they see that you've got security on your mind as well, but it gives you that little bit of space between you and the individual. And lastly, always ask for identification. Whether somebody's legitimate or illegitimate, ask for identification. Pay close attention to the identification card. A lot of the time, they'll just flash it in front of you very quickly and say that they're from a utility company or from an organisation. Take time, read the name, read the badge number, read the company details. If you're still unsure, be polite but firm and say, well, I'm sorry, I wasn't anticipating you calling today. I'm going to do my own research. I'll phone your company and I'll make an appointment that's convenient to me. And if they're legitimate, they'll understand that and they'll go away. If they're there for criminal intent, they'll realise that you're on the ball security-wise, and they'll move away, they'll move on. And lastly, don't be embarrassed. Doorstep crime, scams, they happen across generations. It does tend to target the elderly and the most vulnerable in society, but it can affect us all. If it does happen, don't feel ashamed, don't feel embarrassed. Please report it. If you don't have the means to report it, have somebody that you trust, whether it's a family member or friend, do that on your behalf. You can do that by phoning 101 or 999 if it's an emergency. You can report it online, or you can go to somewhere like Crime Stoppers if you don't want to leave your details. And if you want any information on how to safeguard yourself or somebody that you know from doorstep crime and scams, please go onto the Police Scotland website. We've got a dedicated page on Shut Out Scammers, which has all the advice that you would need to safeguard yourself or others from financial harm to doorstep and bogus caller crime.
When it comes to shutting out doorstep scammers, we would offer 3 pieces of advice. The first being in remaining vigilant. If you are offered something that sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So if you're being offered work to be done on your property or on the gardens, that's a fraction of the cost of maybe what you've had done before. It should be ringing warning bells. The second piece of advice would be just always double check. So like Greg touched on this, always verifying the credentials of visitors, salesmen and cold callers that are coming to the property. Consumers can do this by requesting information from anyone visiting the home and by contacting the company they're claiming to represent, using contact details that you found yourself online or through directory inquiries, because as it's been touched on before, these scammers can be quite smart in as far as they can set up support elsewhere. So just kind of do your own research into contact details for these companies. And the last piece of advice would just be to take your time. Legitimate companies and organisations that are coming to your door to offer to do work, sell you a product or a service, should never force you to make an on-the-spot decision. So just take your time, do your research, and double check wherever appropriate.
Sign up to receive these free alerts, and that can be done through the Neighbourhood Watch Scotland website, and you don't need to be a member of Neighbourhood Watch to receive these alerts, so please just sign on and register. Be informed with regards to the advice, the do's and the don'ts. There's a lot of excellent advice on these alerts from Police Scotland, from Trade Standards Scotland, from Advice Direct Scotland, and for other key partners, so be informed with that. And finally, by looking out for each other, Share this information. I think that's an important message from us. Share it to your neighbours, your family, your friends, your colleagues, your loved ones.
Firstly, do not engage. Whether it's a flyer that's been put through your door or an uninvited caller who knocks on your door, if you do not engage, it's very unlikely that you will become the victim of a scam. Secondly, if you feel that you need work done or wish work to be done on your property or your garden, get 3 quotes from reputable traders. These quotes will allow you to understand better the amount of work that's involved in doing the job. It will give you confidence that the person doing the job is capable of doing the job, and it will let you understand how much you're likely to pay. Thirdly, if you're unsure about a situation you find yourself in, please discuss it with friends, family, neighbours. Do not sit in isolation and tell no one. If you feel that you've been a victim of a scam, please report it. You will not be wasting trading standards or police time by doing so, and you may well be preventing yourself and others from being scam victims in the future.
I would suggest that you think before making any decision. Ultimately, the advice is not to do any business on the doorstep and to shut out scammers. But also think about, if someone is at your door, what they are saying to you. Rogue traders will try to pressure you and say that they have special deals available, that they have been working in your area and have materials left over, or that there is an issue with your property that needs fixed quickly, such as roofing works. The second thing I would suggest is that you do your research, and by research I mean get 3 quotes from 3 different businesses, and also do your research by looking at 3 different review sites of those businesses. Doorstep criminals are trying to appear more legitimate. They have glossy leaflets, they wear uniforms, they have liveried vans, and they also sign up to these review sites. So that's the reason why I'm saying check 3 reviews sites and also get 3 quotes for 3 different businesses. The final piece of advice I would give is to sign up for information from trusted sources. Trading Standards Scotland, Police Scotland and Neighbourhood Watch Scotland are all on the alert platform, and we would suggest that you sign up to Neighbourhood Watch Alert and receive information and advice from these key partners who provide trusted information and advice in relation to the scams that are not only going on nationally but things that are happening locally in your area, and ways that you can prevent yourself from being a target to these scams. The last piece of information I would give is that in looking at trusted sources of information and looking to find trusted traders, I would suggest that you speak to your local authority trading standards service and see if they have an approved trader scheme. Many of them do, and they ultimately want to protect their local consumers.